Two more leave paradise as three new Islanders get to work.
Catherine has selected you to prepare her entree. Naja has selected you to prepare her dessert.
Are you comfortable with like getting to know other people?
I mean, absolutely.
Great. Great news.
Welcome back to Romance Review TV with Lady T, and I got another recap for you guys. Love Island USA Season 4 Episode 14, and we have a dumping tonight. We lose 2 people from the island. Also, 3 new bombshells come in, and Isiah gets to date 2 of them. So we're going to unpack all of this messy drama. But before we do, take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure your notifications are turned on so you are updated every time I post. And don't forget to like and share. So, as it left us from the previous episode, we had both Sydney and Isiah head into the hideaway, as they're pretty much the only couple. I don't know about solid, but the only couple that's really into each other right now, that are still a couple at that point. Then we saw that deeper connections were made with Maddie and Andy, as we're on the verge of another dumping, which brings us to Sarah, who also come and tell the Islanders that there will be a dumping because the public has been voting, and they also get to make the final decision on the final 4. 2 ladies, 2 men. So where we leave off at, and it was pretty crazy last night, where we had Maddie, Bria, Timmy, and then last but not least, Andy on the chopping block, because the public have voted these 2 couples as the weakest links or couples on the show. So at this point, now the decision shifts. It shifts over to their fellow Islanders. The girls had to make a decision on which girl they wanted to keep, and the guys had to make a decision as well. Now, in their little deliberations, both, of course, the guys and the girls, the guys' biggest issue was the fact that they didn't want to break up the coupling that's possibly, or this relationship connection between Zimmy. And they said that, of course, Zeta would have been devastated. At the same time, the girls didn't know who to get rid of because, Zeta thought Bria would be leaving too soon. So they made a decision. The guys chose to dump Andy from the island and keep Timmy, which it was hard because a lot of them have gotten really close. But at the end of the day, they chose Timmy over Andy. And it didn't look like Chaz was not so happy. I think he wanted Timmy to go home. For the girls, Deb made the announcement that they were going to dump Bria and keep Maddie. Now, this one I was shocked about. I'm like, if you're sending Andy on, send Maddie on with him. But no, they split that couple up and ended up sending Bria home, which I would have been more than happy to see what would kind of work out between Jeff and Bria, because they look like they were starting to make a connection. And this whole scene with Chaz and Bria as their siblings, it was so sad. I got a little emotional about it. I know he didn't want to see his sister go. And of course, Andy did not want to, he didn't want to leave Maddie because he was really digging in a deeper connection with her, and especially since she gave him a second chance. As for Jeff also thought that it was a little too soon for Bria to go home because he wanted to build up on that connection. And you can tell by that kiss, there was something there. I just wanted to see more of that. I don't know why they did that. But at the end of the day, Bria went home Andy went home, and I don't know. This is the most confusing dumping because send Maddie with Andy, keep Bria. I don't know what they were thinking, but okay, whatever. Let me know what you guys think. So speaking of Maddie, she is just ripped. Her heart is ripped in two because now she has really become vulnerable with Andy and opened up to him, and now he's gone. And she says that she, this is one reason why she don't like getting close to guys, because something always jinx it and it never comes to fruition. And, it always ends some kind of way. So she wasn't happy about that. Now switching over to Zemi, these two are happy because number one, Timmy's still on the island. Zeta want that man. She don't want him to go. I mean, it seems like they're pretty much all about each other at this point. And I'm hoping that's the case, because the last 4 or 5 episodes, we had a lot of issues with these two. They've been the topic of discussion for the last several episodes, but seem like they made their happy medium at this point. So hopefully they can make this thing work, build upon their connection. They do seem like they have one, because she can't stay away from him. And he actually is feeling her too. So then we had this conversation with Chaz and Serenity, and Serenity has had a moment of enlightenment, because as much as this whole dumping happened and his sister is instantly now out the door, she's now feeling more of a connection with him and don't want to lose him. I don't know what has happened or transpired, because at one point she was losing interest in him, and I don't know. That's interesting to say the least. I honestly think that she's better off with Jesse. But anyway, so these two are preparing because they can't sleep in that bed. They're deciding to sleep on the day bed. And from what I understand, I thought it was kind of chilly outside at night. But hey, they made it work and they pretty much cuddled up. So the next morning, as much as some people are still reeling after the dumping, they're having their breakfasts, conversations are happening. And while all this is going down, there's a text message that comes in. And the text message is saying that there are 3 new bombshells coming into the villa. Now, Maddie is excited because she feels that this is a little bit better news for her after coming off of Andy being dumped. However, Isiah gets a text that Catherine has selected him to prepare the entree. Now, I was wondering what his reaction was going to be. Now, he tried to kind of reassure Sydney by kind of like, don't worry about it. Maddie also got a text that she had to prepare a meal for Jared, and she really was trying to figure out what to cook. And then Jeff has Nigel, who he has to prepare an entree for. So I guess this is kind of like their meet and greet. They got to choose who they wanted to try to build a connection on. So it is what it is. And Chaz also have to do a dessert. Now, with that being said, Serenity is like, I don't want these girls to come up in here and take my man. And I'm like, woo, what a 360-degree shift on her part. And then Chaz was like, hey, you know what? I don't think Serenity have any problems with, worried about me, but at least will kind of put a little bit of fire up under her. And so we also have Isiah trying to reassure Sydney that all is good. There's nothing to worry about. Well, we'll see about that. On the flip side, we have Maddie excited about the fact of meeting somebody new as well. They're all sitting around trying to figure out what they're going to fix. Her, Jeff, and Isiah, and Chaz, because he got to make a dessert. But for some reason, Isiah he says bittersweet. He's excited, but he don't want to be excited. And he liked the fact that the interest is there, and he's, feeling very, very flattered. But he don't know whether to get too excited about it because he's in this relationship or coupling with Sydney. So they're all preparing their meals. And I got to say, Jeff looked like he can cook his ass off. The boy is talking about cooking steak and corn and everything. I'm like, you go ahead on with your bad self. Maddie is making tacos for her entree as well. So Catherine and Jared and Naja is on their way into the villa. They're coming in through the process of when they have their little evening, after party later in the day. But I say they're very attractive. I'm wondering where the connections are going to fall with these, with these three bombshells. I can kind of see a connection possibly happening with Jeff and Naja. So Isiah actually brings over his meals to Catherine. And Catherine looked like she got a lot of tricks up her sleeve. She looked like she know what the lesson is that she must perform in this villa, which is to try to take Sydney's man. And she's here for it. She has no problem with it. And she's very flirtatious. She's very charming, which, of course, is why Isiah, even though he's treading lightly, has that big old smile on his face. In regards to Jared, I really didn't see the connection. They didn't even eat their food. Even the narrator was like, well, maybe we need to have the health inspectors come out because they didn't eat the food. So maybe he didn't trust her cooking. I don't know. And then Naja and Jeff hit it off really well. He was excited. Now, one thing about Jeff, he's a smooth talker. I said that from the day he came in. And she is smiling from ear to ear. He's spitting game for real. I don't want you to go nowhere. You're going to be mine. Oh, hey, you guys know what I'm talking about. Back to Jared, I really don't see a connection. But like I said, with Naja, yeah, I don't know. I just think that they're going to do well. But Jared and Maddie, I don't see it. Now, she seemed like she's over eager to try to build a connection with him, but I don't know if he's 100% with her yet. That's the part that's going to be interesting. Because tomorrow he's going to have a meetup with Deb, and that one looks a little bit messy because Jesse is not going to be happy about that. But yeah, I don't see the connection there. I mean, it's a get to know you process, but it is what it is. Now, as Isiah described, Sydney is having bat hearing and eagle eyes, I think he described. That's exactly what she was doing from up above on that terrace, because she was keeping an eye on every movement, every smile, every laugh, anything that happened from that table between Isiah and Catherine. And Catherine knew everything about that. But Catherine had a request to find out if Isiah would be open. And here's his response. So, yikes. It seemed like he's interested and open to trying to get to know Catherine even more, which, of course, Sydney up above could tell that the energy had shifted between him and her, and that it was looking like it's going to be a little bit of competition for her. So, as much as he already dropped that L word, they've been in the hideaway already. Yeah, it's going to be a big problem. Now, it's not over yet because there are more dates in tomorrow episode, and that also includes another date for Isiah. Check it out. Yeah, so it looked like the tides are turning in regards to Sydney and Isiah, and he's now trying to project on her about her having an attraction if somebody else come into the villa. Why are you trying to speak that on her, Isiah? So you can kind of excuse yourself and make room for the two new girls who you had a date with. Yeah, it's about to get messy. And hopefully Sydney don't get hurt. And as for Deb, it looked like she has more options on the table. And who knows if Jared is a little bit more affectionate than Jesse. So that means more competition for him. So I hope you enjoyed this recap. Make sure you take a second to subscribe to this channel, and please don't forget to like and share. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.